Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Coleman with Game On Live Studios. Watching a little bit of rugby today. Utah against UCLA. Utah in the red, UCLA in the blue. UCLA very quick here on the attack, tackling Utah out of bounds, where it's going to be a line out for UCLA. Looks like Jack Roberts with the throw-in, getting one of his call-outs from his player as to what play they're running here with the line out. See how this starts out. Set a good foundation for these set pieces. UCLA early with the mishandles. Looks like Utah caught in a penalty for not releasing, so it's going to be a penalty for UCLA. Looks like they're going to go opt to kick for touch. Barely gets in there, so it's going to be a line out for UCLA. It's getting a little closer to this try line. They start, using the line out for an attack, maybe some sort of maul. We see that a lot in the MLR. We'll see if they do that here. And they opt for the maul, but it looks like the throw-in was not straight, so it's going to be a line out for Utah. And they're opting for a scrum. Utah's confident in their scrum. Maybe they saw something in their film against, with UCLA. They're confident that their scrum is going to be a little bit better than UCLA's, so they're opting for that scrum instead of a line out. See how they attack here. Strong platform to work from. Strong running here by Utah, breaking the line. Utah doing very well with breaking that line, getting a little pressure on UCLA, and then clearing it out to relieve some of the pressure of their own. Received well by UCLA. And a little chip over the Utah defense with a nice back for Utah. Little overthrown it looks like, but recovered well. So there's a penalty on Utah for not releasing. UCLA kicking for touch. Again, we'll probably see as UCLA tried a little earlier, probably going for some sort of a maul, just to maul it in very quickly. And looking for a wall. Looks like it was just kicked in there. So now we're about to probably get 2 rugby balls here on the field. Just toss it aside. Utah steals that line out, but unfortunately wasn't able to haul it in, so it's going to be a knock on with Utah. Very well defended by Utah here, that line out. Unfortunately, just spur of the moment. Sometimes you get a little surprised that the ball's coming right into your hand, so you unfortunately weren't ready for it, and they knock it on. So it's going to be a scrum here with about 5 meters out for UCLA. Be a good test of UCLA's scrum is maybe, you know, they could try to just push the scrum all the way back and be able to try to touch it down here. We'll see how Utah contends. Looks like an early push from Utah, so it's going to give a free kick to UCLA. They are quick with it. Oh, very close to the try line. It's going to be another penalty on Utah. So there is a little bit of, I think there was an injury. Someone was slow to get up. Turner's going to come in and take a look, see how everything is. UCLA to restart. So trying to be patient with the ball, not making any mistakes, losing possession here. Deciding to just take it right up the middle. Put a little pressure on Utah. Diving forward, getting closer to the try line is UCLA. And it's going to be a try for UCLA. Looks like that is going to be, he can turn his back to me so I can see his number. Number 3, I believe, Keelan O'Riordan. Actually, that might be a number 5, so Will Sherman. It's like UCLA with the point after. Looks like he slots it, so it's going to be 7-0 for UCLA. Utah here to restart after the try. About 8 minutes into this game so far. You know, and really we've just seen, you know, UCLA gaining the advantage just purely by having a few penalties on Utah and then just kicking for touch. They're going to be able to gain those precious meters. So see how Utah responds here. Hopefully try to get some points of their own. High kick taken well by UCLA. Finding a little bit of a gap in the middle is UCLA number 9, or screaming down the sideline, or the middle, number 8, Nathaniel Beal. Strong support here by UCLA. Trying to capitalize on the overlap they have, and they find a little bit of a gap. Pierce Newman breaking the line. And Utah able to defend just right on the goal line, or the try line. Looks like it's going to be a penalty on UCLA, so Utah getting bailed out there. Utah kicking for touch. UCLA, after that break, was very quick with getting that support and continuing the flow of the game. That's super important, especially when one of your players or one of your teammates, you know, breaks that line. Having that support, you know, a long run like that is only as good as the support that comes with it. And so UCLA was able to, you know, bring in that support, secure their ruck, and you know, continue that play. But unfortunately, they got held up there at the goal line due to a penalty. So Utah gets bailed out by Utah. Looks like their number 8, Jake Kiniavok. It's going to be a scrum here for UCLA. Contrary to last week where we saw, I believe it was Grand Canyon, where they would load one side while the scrum was in the middle. It looks like here UCLA is opting to go with a split back lineup. They're going to have one of their either wings or one of their centers on one side, and then obviously they're the opposite on the opposite side. So really gives them an opportunity to attack to see how Utah lines up and if they match numbers. Looks like they aren't necessarily matching it quite yet. Just having that little defense for a kick through. UCLA is pretty proficient at kicking when it comes down to it. So maybe Utah's been prepared for that, and we'll see how they respond. UCLA swinging it out wide, nothing too fancy, just trying to gain the meters. Great tackle there by Ian Tapuiluilu. Counter-ruck by Utah, but unfortunately was not rolling away. Let's see. Wasn't able to see that the signal from the ref, but it was a penalty on Utah. UCLA looks like they're going to opt to go with their forwards and go head up, challenging Utah here on the defensive line. Breaks a tackle, makes it over a little closer to the try line, about 5 meters out. Great defense there by Utah, great tackle. Great defense there by Utah, stealing the ball. That was number 15. I believe Jaden is the name that I've got. So Utah steals the ball, kicks for touch, but unfortunately doesn't find touch. Taken well by UCLA. Has a little bit of time because there's not much of a chase there. Gives it a step. A great tackle there by Utah. Number 12, Ethan Churn. A little bit of mishandling there by UCLA. Utah quick to recover. Going for a clearance kick to relieve some of that pressure. Fortunately, doesn't make it out of bounds, but UCLA tries to catch it, can't haul it in, and it goes out of bounds, so they're into touch, so it's going to be a line out here for Utah. Utah here with the line out. But stolen by UCLA. UCLA just powering forward, breaking tackles. Finding a little space outside is UCLA. But great defense by Utah, tackling him into touch. It's number 12, Ethan Churn, along with one of his teammates. Getting a little chippy out there already, it looks like. A few words were exchanged, ball thrown. And the referee is not having that, so he's going to talk with one of the players. Have a conversation with him. Looks like gonna give him a yellow card. Oh, number 15 gets the yellow. So it looks like it was number 12, Ethan Churn and Jaden. It's going to be UCLA kicks for touch. The referee not liking what he's seeing. Perhaps it just wasn't stable enough, so he's going to have a little talking to the forwards here to get a better foundation set. Strong push here by UCLA, but Utah gets it out. Utah breaking the line, great support. That was Ethan Churn to Jason France. But Utah passing and wasn't ready for the pass, so they're going to have to touch it down. But it looks like it's going to be a try for UCLA. If you are confused on what happened there, so normally when the ball is within the 22, or excuse me, within your own try line, via a kick, you will have the option to tap it down and do a goal line kick. But unfortunately, at least to my understanding, because it was a pass into the try zone, you can't touch it down in that way. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that was the call there. And so Utah thinking they touched it down, and thought everything was good, but UCLA with the heads-up play to get that try. So it's going to be a try for UCLA, and looks like the point after is good, making it 14-0 for UCLA. High kick from Utah, received well by UCLA. Utah very quick on the defense. The referee having a conversation with both the players. Looks like another card is going to be played, maybe. Looks like Jake Kiniavok trying to defend his case here. Looks like the ref is having none of it, but having a conversation with captains is always a good idea in regards to getting everybody kind of in check, making sure that the standards of the game are kept. So it looks like it's going to be a scrum here to UCLA. Looks like UCLA with the advantage there. UCLA not really knowing where to go with that throw. But doesn't matter as there was a penalty on Utah. Gonna go kick for touch. And they find it. So it's gonna be a line out here for UCLA. Line out there by UCLA, but Utah very quick on the defense. Utah getting over it. Poaching the ball there. But yeah, UCLA not releasing the ball there. Utah was very quick with trying to get that ball out. And UCLA not giving it up. So it's going to be a penalty on UCLA. Utah has been attempting to poach the ball very quickly. They're getting over UCLA's unsupported runners and doing a good job of that so far. Unfortunately, the calls haven't been going their way quite yet, but this one did. Utah opting to go for just a strong run here by one of their forwards. I believe it was Jake Kiniovac. Strong running there by Utah, but unfortunately wasn't able to secure that ruck as fast as they'd like, but were able to a little later. Looks like UCLA coming in from the side. Can't do that, so it's going to be a penalty here on UCLA. Utah once again opting to go to their forward, Ian Tapuiluilu. But UCLA up for the challenge, but then he squeaks out. It looks like it was Sam Belcher. Utah digging for the ball there. UCLA very quick on the defensive line. Utah making sure to just keep secure of that, keep possession of that ball, make sure it's staying secure. Utah finding a little bit of space there, but unfortunately took it in. And UCLA with the counter ruck, ball comes out. UCLA kicks it over, finding that there's no one in the back three there. See if UCLA can. So it's going to be a knock-on UCLA. Scrum for Utah. Utah opting to go for the, well, I was about to say split back, but it looks like right as I say that, Utah was shifting over, but looks like there was an early engage there by, or an early push there by Utah. Kicks that, taken well by UCLA. Utah getting over that ball once again, but got cleared out. UCLA with a little bit of space there. Utah able to wrap him up. Make sure no offloads were done. UCLA once again just keeping ball in hand, trying to find that overlap. Nothing too fancy. But Utah very good on defense, bending but not breaking here. Utah's making sure to keep their heads up, on defense so that they see what's going on in front of them. But great offload there by Utah, or from UCLA. It's going to be another try from UCLA. UCLA with the point after here. Looks like a nice little chip kick. It's going to put UCLA up 21-0 with about 13 minutes left in the half. UCLA has been really able to utilize a lot of the space that Utah's been giving them, finding those gaps in between the defense, and then also running those support lines right after one of the UCLA players is about to get tackled. A UCLA player is, one of their backs is quick on that support line, or even forwards, as we just saw, for a quick offload. So that's something that UCLA has been doing very, very well. Utah has also been doing very well as far as that defensive line, making sure that they stay together. They're making their tackles. They're just, unfortunately, the ball hasn't been bouncing their way in regards to having a few of those offloads. So Utah hopefully trying to have the momentum swing in their favor. Fortunately, a high kick comes and UCLA is trying to go for that kick. Utah interferes with that, so it's going to be a penalty here on Utah for UCLA. They opt to kick for touch. It's going to be a line out a few meters up. Throw in there by UCLA. Great tackle there by Sam Belcher. There's going to be a knock on there by UCLA. Great job by Utah, just pulling that ball out as he was being tackled. It was a mishandle, so it's going to be a scrum here by Utah with a great opportunity to score. Utah with the pick right off of the scrum there by their 8-man. Finding a little bit of space around the edge. But UCLA tackles him out of bounds. Very strong tackle from, obviously when you're backed up against the wall, you want to try to relieve as much pressure as you can. And so for UCLA there, yeah, it was just really, once you get it, kick it out, because, Utah's coming. And, having your backs right up against your own try line is always hard to attack from. So although they lose possession there, they gain a few meters, relieve a little bit more pressure. Maybe not as much as they would have liked, but, anything's better than nothing. So Utah here with the line out. Looks like it's stolen by UCLA. Once again, just clearing out, relieving some of that pressure. Doesn't go out of bounds, so it's taken well here by Utah. Little through kick, number 15 of Utah, I believe Jaden. And then strong running here by UCLA. But Utah Great defense there by UCLA. Strong running by Utah as well. Making sure to keep ball in hand. Trying to just push through UCLA's defense. Looks like Utah called for a penalty, but one of the Utah players is injured, so take a little bit of time for him. Injuries are never fun here in any sport, really. And so we always try to make sure that if there's a very serious injury or really injury at all, that we make sure that they're taken care of. And so we always have athletic trainers on hand to make sure that they're taken care of and that they can stay as healthy as possible. Looks like he's able to, with some assistance, walk off the field here. So play will continue. It's going to be UCLA. To kick. Looks like he's going to go kick for touch. Finds it. It's going to be a line out here for UCLA. UCLA with the front jump. Low pass right off the line out. Great tackle there by Utah. It was Jake Kiniovac. Utah getting in the face of UCLA here, putting a little bit of pressure on them. But right as I say that, UCLA with the line break and a step, and it looks like he's going to be able to score another try for UCLA. Because it's going to be Ollie Griffiths. Quickly off of that line out, a low pass, but UCLA quick to recover. Utah really putting a lot of pressure on UCLA. Like, Utah's defensive line and their line speed isn't bad at all, and it's a lot of credit to their defense, but it's just making those tackles. UCLA is able to break them, and with that, once one line break happens, it's very hard for a defense to recover. And so it looks like, Utah having to recover from that is, like I said, very, very difficult, especially after there only being about, one guy there as the last line of defense. So Utah, their line speed, very, very good. It's just making those one-up tackles right now, and UCLA obviously running the support lines has been super helpful. Looks like he's able to slot that kick, so it's going to be 28-0 for UCLA. Utah to restart. High kick from Utah, received well by UCLA. Most of the time you'll see off of these kickoffs when one of the backs gets receives the kick, they'll always try to pass it to one of their forwards or one of their bigger backs, just to kind of do a little bit of head up running, keep secure the ball, see if we can get a little bit of a line break there, and that's what we saw here by UCLA. But penalty on Utah, so UCLA going to kick for touch once again. It's going to be a line out for UCLA. About 5 minutes remaining in the half. It's always super important, with games like this. You always think you can 28-0. Can a team come back? But in the game of rugby, you can really go on a run and keep that momentum going, right? As you can see, as every time UCLA scores, Utah kicks back to UCLA, and so it's very possible that Utah can come back with that little bit of momentum, and they can score 3 tries one after another and continue that momentum. So don't count Utah out quite yet. If Utah can score a try here, keep that momentum going, moving forward in the second half, it's very, very doable. It's going to be a knock-on in UCLA. So scrum here for Utah. Boring in by UCLA. So Utah was hoping to catch UCLA sleeping. It was Gennaro Fiorello. Unfortunately, ref tells him, bring it back. I don't think he was on the mark. So, gonna go and kick for touch. This will be a line out for Utah. Utah overthrows it. It's going to be double knock. I believe he's going to go play the first knock, which was on Utah. So it's going to be a scrum here for UCLA. UCLA with a little bit of a back move and finding some space out wide. But defended well by Utah, tackling him out of bounds. So it's going to be a line out for Utah. Tries to go for, a cheeky little throw in there, going straight to their first man. But unfortunately, didn't work out as well as they had hoped. Ball's on the ground but for Utah, but Utah quick to recover that. And then once again, ball comes out again, and UCLA comes out with it. And UCLA just squeaking out and finding a little bit of space there. Once again with another try. It's Pat O'Day. Looks like he was picking it right off of the ruck there and caught Utah sleeping. Looks like Josh Cox with the point after. And he makes it, which makes it 35-0 for UCLA. Looks like Utah is going to restart here. Though we show zeros on the clock, the referee holds the official time due to a few injuries. She's giving a few minutes back for the game to continue. Utah with a deep kick, taken by UCLA. Utah getting awarded a penalty, UCLA not releasing, so Utah has a great opportunity here to score right before the half. Which is what they do with it really is what's going to matter here. It's going for their big man 8, Jake Kiniovac. UCLA once again trying to get their hands on the ball. And strong running here by Alvaro Miko. Utah inching forward here, keeping those legs churning. The tackle has been made, so UCLA has to let go. And Utah pounding forward with their forwards, breaking that line. It scores a try. That's something that I believe Utah does very well. Once they get close to that try line, just keeping ball in hand and just pushing forward with their forwards, keeping their legs driving, quick to grab the ball, secured the ruck, and then, quickly with their forwards, just pushed forward, 2 meters at a time, 3 meters at a time, but always, hardly ever being pushed back in those phases. And then, so it paid off for them here. So the point after, it's going to be 7-35 for UCLA. That's going to end the first half. So Utah coming in with a little bit of momentum, hopefully being able to carry that momentum over and bring it back into manageable distance. So I will see you guys here once the second half begins.
welcome your Utah youth back on the field.
Welcome back to the second half of this Utah-UCLA matchup with UCLA up 35 and Utah 7. Utah coming in with a little bit of momentum here, scoring right before the half ended and recover it. Maybe put a little bit more pressure on UCLA. Some adjustments that I hope, that were made or were talked about at least is, first and foremost, Utah, trying to get on the front foot on both, just in general, right? Utah having a good attack on defense, coming up quickly, but really just trying to secure those tackles, making sure that, there is no option for an offload by UCLA. But then also on offense, trying to have a better line speed, attacking speed, and a little bit more depth for that attack to happen. UCLA is getting into Utah's face very quickly, and is stopping any chance that Utah has of developing any type of play here. So, hope to see that improvement here from Utah. UCLA, that same coin, really just focusing on those fundamentals and releasing that ball when it comes to getting that ball out quick when they are tackled and that ruck is formed. Putting that ball out quickly so that Utah doesn't get over it, is something that is very, very important that, UCLA has been caught on with, either getting the ball poached or, in the process of getting poached, they don't release it and it's a penalty. So some improvements that I hope were talked about here in the at half that we potentially can see here in the second half improvement-wise. So knock on by UCLA, so it's going to be a scrum for Utah. Gennaro Fiore. UCLA with the counter ruck there, putting a little pressure on Utah, but looks like Gennaro picks it and goes, so there's going to be a 9 in. Forward's going to act as a scrum half right now until Gennaro gets back in it. Utah with that little depth that we had talked with, a lot more depth we had talked about as far as improvement. So it gives them an opportunity to, attack, use a backline move of some sort. But right as I say that, UCLA comes up with the ball. And Utah tackles them in a touch, so it's going to be a line out for Utah. So it looks like a knock-on was called on Utah, so it's going to be a line out, or excuse me, a scrum. Very opposite of a line out. It's going to be a scrum for UCLA. UCLA once again opting for that split backs. We'll see their, one of their wings and their centers on one side, and obviously their counterparts on the other. Utah matching it up well now. Utah with a strong push there, but UCLA was able to defend that push. UCLA unable to really get any support there, so Utah, as always, very quick over that ball, steals it. We've got Ian Tapuiluilu, strong running. Utah trying to just get it outside where their space was, or would they offload, but UCLA able to stop that offload from happening. There was a knock-on, but I guess advantage was being played, so it's going to take it back to the point of the infraction, and it's going to be, looks like, diving over on UCLA, so it's going to be Utah awarded a penalty. See what they plan to do here. Looks like he's going to kick for touch. First, he doesn't find it, goes to the, nope, not quite, into the back. So UCLA recovers, just kicks it out of their own try zone to relieve that pressure. Utah here on the attack, finding a little bit of space here. The numbers, but taken back in by Jason France. But UCLA counter-rucks, finding a little bit of a gap here. And Utah with the tackle. Great recovery tackle there. UCLA, once again, caught for not releasing that ball. Utah getting very quick over the ball and putting a lot of pressure there on UCLA. Something that Utah has been doing very, very well this game so far is really just getting onto their feet quickly and putting their hands on that ball so to try to steal it. So great job by Utah. Looks like they're going to go and kick for touch. It's going to be a line out here for Utah. Throw there by Utah, covered well. Great clear out there by Utah. Utah trying to get the ball out as quick as they can to try to find that space to catch UCLA sleeping. UCLA getting in the face of Utah very quickly, making sure that nothing happens as far as the backline move goes. Great running there by Alvaro Miko. And a great support line there by Utah number 11, Ethan Ogzuela. Utah with some depth here. Trying to keep the momentum going. Looks like UCLA called for not rolling away. Utah with a quick tap. Utah has the advantage here. Very strong running there by Ethan Churn. Getting ever so close to the try line. It's where Utah really slows it down, works with their forwards. He's going to take it back to the point of a penalty, which I believe was offsides. When a penalty has occurred, UCLA, or the team that the penalty was on, has to go back 10 meters. They don't go back 10 meters and they try to make a tackle, then they're considered offsides. It's another penalty, so they take another back 10. So So we saw here there was advantage being played. So Utah going to go with their forwards here. A little bit of a gap, but it wasn't able to haul it in. So UCLA with the clearance kick. Utah trying to counter, trying to get something going. Utah has a ton of space out wide. Hopefully they can try to utilize once again. Not rolling away, it looks like. So Utah having a lot of momentum here. Trying to punch it in. Great recovery catch there by Ethan Churn. Spencer Hoon acting as scrum half for the time being. And Utah mishandles the ball, but we're going to go back to an advantage. UCLA making a lot of mistakes. And Utah trying to capitalize on that streak. Strong running by Jake Kiniovak. Utah with a pick and go right from the side, finding a little space, trying to commit a defender, and he gets to the side of the try zone, and he scores. It's going to be Ethan Churn. The great pick and go there by, it looks like, Gennaro Fiorello. And a nice 1v2 to finish. Utah just relentless with their attack. Every time UCLA seemed to come up with the ball, it was due to a penalty, and so Utah was once again awarded, a penalty, kicking for touch, going with their forwards as well, just pounding UCLA, asking them to just go head up with them. And UCLA's been up for the challenge, but at some point with, as strong as Utah's runners are, you have to break at some point. It looks like we saw that here. And so we're hoping, Utah's hoping to continue that momentum, trying to just continue to pound UCLA, not do what Utah does best, which is that strong pound, running with their forwards, going meter by meter, keeping possession of the ball, wearing out the defense, and see if they can continue that trend moving forward. Looks like Ian Warmer with the kick. Goes a little wide. So it's going to be 12-35 for Utah with about 28 minutes remaining in this game. For the try by Utah. It's a low kick. Looks like it's going to be going out of bounds. So it's going to be a scrum center. Correction. Looks like it's going to be a line out here for Utah. UCLA stealing that line out after a bobbled catch there by Utah. So UCLA's coming up with it. UCLA's trying to go for a little crossfield kick. Received well by number 14, Mason Walker. Looks like there's going to be a penalty on Utah for not releasing Looks like not releasing the ball or the tackle. So, excuse me, the ball. And so UCLA going to kick for touch, and they find it. So it's going to be a line out here for UCLA, 5 meters out. So expect a scrum or a maul here by UCLA. We'll see how Utah chooses to defend this. Maybe the maul here by UCLA. Utah choosing to not engage. And so because UCLA tried to use to get Utah engaged, but Utah choosing not to, it would end up being a obstruction. So UCLA having their players in front of the ball carrier and Utah not engaging in that maul, it's a penalty. So we saw last week when Utah chose to not Utah chose to not engage, Grand Canyon was able to read that, and they fell through that maul, and they scored a try. But UCLA not as quick with that, so they're going to there was a penalty against them. This will be a scrum here for Utah. Utah just trying to exit and relieve the pressure that UCLA's put them under. Trying to set a little platform for their kick, getting a little bit more space. Great running by Jake Kiniovac. Happy with the space that they got. Looks like you're going for a little bit of a chip kick there, but recovered well by UCLA. And a little bit of space because they committed their wing to it, and it looks like it's going to be another try for UCLA. Looks like Utah thought that they maybe had something in a cross-field kick, maybe not going for a clearance kick there, and trying to kick to their wing, but then UCLA snuffed it out and recovered well, and it was basically a 2-on-1 as Utah had committed their wing to trying to recover that kick. So it's going to be right now 40-12 for UCLA with the point after on the way. He slots it, so it's going to put it at 42-12 for UCLA. Moments like that, I really remember a lot of times where we should be making an exit, where our backs are against the wall, and we see something that could potentially gain a lot of meters, and also keep the possession of the ball. But it's always kind of that tempting idea to go for a little bit something special, a little extra, rather than doing that safe bet. And it looks like Utah, tried to take that risk and unfortunately didn't pay off for them. So Utah going for a midfield kick, going fairly high. UCLA choosing to counter here. Gets it right behind Utah, but they were able to recover it. And they're on the front foot looking to counter. Just taking it forward, trying to reset, making sure there's a nice foundation for them to attack from. Strong running there by number 7 for Utah, Spencer Hoon. Then a box kick from Utah, hoping to have gotten a little bit more under that one, but it looked like he was getting tackled as he kicked it, so it literally just went basically parallel to where he was. So it's going to be a line out here for Utah. Utah with the throw in, stolen by UCLA. UCLA securing the ball there, but didn't have a scrum half for Utah. Unfortunately, it's going to be a penalty on Utah, so UCLA trying to dig the ball out. Utah caught not releasing the ball there, so it's going to be a penalty for UCLA. So line out. So look for UCLA to do another maul, as they've been doing that really within their opposing team's 22. But maybe, trying a little bit of trickery here, faking a maul. But Utah has not been, Utah chose not to contest that maul, and so UCLA was ready for it and just moved forward and gained, 5 meters really quick. UCLA just going very quickly with their forwards and trying to find that try line, and they do. Number 5 for UCLA, Will Sherman. Very well done there by UCLA, realizing, and I'm sure they had the conversation right before their line out, realizing that Utah doesn't contest and get sucked into those mauls, and so UCLA was very quick in the reaction and gained, 4 or 5 meters very quickly, and got a lot of momentum for moving forward. So very well done there by UCLA, just learning that. Utah, like I said, has chosen not to contest those mauls, and so they just need to make sure to have that defensive line set up when they choose not to. But we've got number 10 here, Josh Cox with the point after. He splits it again, so it's going to be 49-12. I think he's about 100% with all of his conversions, so props to him on his kicks. Utah here to restart. High kick. Contested by Utah and almost stolen there, but UCLA comes down with it. Relieves some of that pressure with a clearance kick. Booming kick over Utah's head. And Utah to counter. Great chase there by UCLA. Counter kick by Utah. And seeing a little bit of space here on this right side. They're going to utilize that. UCLA finding another gap in Utah's defense, utilizing that. Ball's out, but Utah's sleeping. And the little dummy pass there by UCLA, getting him a little closer to the try line, and it looks like they're going to score another try. It's going to be number 7, Jacob Holcomb. Utah's defense. Looks like it was good. It's going to be 56-12 for UCLA. Utah here to restart with about 15 minutes left in the game. High kick here by Utah, going to contest it. Almost stolen once again, but wasn't able to haul it in, so it's going to be a knock-on for Utah, but referee's playing advantage. He's going to go back to that advantage, so it's going to be a scrum here for UCLA. Utah making some substitutions here, getting some fresh legs in, you know, getting some experience for the boys so that moving forward when the time comes, they're ready. You'll see whenever the whistle blows, when there's a scrum, the the scrum half will toss the ball to their 8-man. It's just for if there is a short arm penalty, they can quickly give it to their 8-man who can pass it out to their backs. It's just a way to, you know, quickly capitalize on a penalty that the opposing team's giving you. So that's why you see them doing that, just so that they can, you know, quickly react and get that ball out on a penalty. Utah getting in the face of UCLA quickly here. UCLA finding a lot of space as Utah's back three. We're back very deep. Expecting a kick from from UCLA. UCLA seeing a little bit of a gap there, but unfortunately knocked the ball on. But they're going to go back to that penalty from Utah on a high tackle. Going to find touch. It's going to be a line out here for UCLA. Referee clearing out that channel a little bit there. Great take by UCLA. And unfortunately bobbles that pass, so it's going to be a knock-on by UCLA, so it's going to be a scrum for Utah. Utah clearing it out. Taken well by UCLA. Trying to counter against UCLA. Trying to get that ball, getting in their face a little bit, but UCLA clearing some of that pressure. Kicking it out. Looks like doesn't find touch. Does in fact find touch. It's going to be a line out here for Utah. Referee once again trying to clear out to make sure that channel is in that correct spot for that throw. Thereby Utah bumping off one of UCLA's defenders. They're very content just going with their forwards, pushing forward 5 meters at a time. Moving to their backs, hopefully try to find some space, but UCLA quick on the defensive attack. Great little line there by number 2 for Utah, Alvaro Miko. Heard some people calling him Al. Swinging out wide, trying to find a little bit of space, getting it to that sideline. And strong running by Jake Kineovak, breaking that line, looking for that support. He finds it in Junior. And Utah running, trying to get it to their forward, but stuffed by UCLA. Looks like Utah called for diving over. So it's going to be a penalty awarded to UCLA. So UCLA kicking for touch and finds it right at about half. Substitutions being made as well by Utah. The last about 6-7 minutes left in this game. UCLA with the throw in, taken well. Utah trying to get into the face of UCLA, but UCLA finding that gap in the defense and then continually moving that ball out wide to find that space. UCLA caught once again, not releasing that ball. So Utah kicking for touch. So we have a line out here for Utah. Very how quickly Utah gets over that ball after a tackle is made to put pressure on, UCLA's support to try to get in and secure that ruck. And Utah, like I said, very quick on the ball, causing a lot of problems here for UCLA in that aspect of the game. Just looking to try to capitalize on that is something that Utah is trying to work towards here. Throw not straight from Utah, so it's going to be a scrum for UCLA. From the ref, but strong running here by Jake Kineovak, breaking the line, getting through UCLA's defense, looking for that support. In Utah, they find it. Again, strong running here, something that Utah does well, within their opposing team's 22. On the attack, Utah just keeps their legs churning and gaining those, small meters at a time and breaking down defenses. But it looks like trying to see who's coming up with this ball, and it Utah, well, trying to see the signals from the referee. So it looks like it's going to be awarded to Utah, whatever it is. Potentially like a knock-on or ball playable. I don't know what the call exactly was there. However, it's going to be a scrum here for Utah. And it's going to be a straight pick from the 8-man off of that scrum. Again, I expect Utah to keep it tight, just getting those hard meters from their forwards. Looks like he's held up. It's going to be a 5-meter scrum. Well, depending on the call here. Yep. Look, it's going to be a 5-meter scrum here for Utah as Utah was held up. It's going to be another pick from Jake Kiniovac from the scrum. Utah looking to attack. The ball squeaks out, but heads up play there by Utah to grab it back up. Utah giving it to their backs, but then looking to swing it wide, but then he ends up taking it in. A large amount of traffic. So it's going to be another scrum here for Utah. Looking to punch it in with the last, minute or 30 seconds in this game. Time showing as 0 on the scoreboard here. Always a nice reminder to let you know that the official time's held by the ref, so any injuries, anything like that, he's got the official time. Once again, Jake Kiniovac with the pick off of the scrum and punches it in for a try for Utah right under the posts. So he's going to bring it to 17-56 with the conversion coming right here. He's going to go for the drop kick here. And he slots it, which makes it 19-56 with the end of the game. I want to thank you all for listening in. Love to hear where you guys are listening from. Thanks so much once again, and enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.